so we'll see what happens. Love Eddie Redmayne, Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway. You know, give it a thumbs up, please comment down below, and please subscribe. And also follow. Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. I'm on a roll, so today, I'm not saying today's not a vlog. Before we get into the video, I'm just going to literally do this quick intro so that I can get into the video. Before we get into the video, please, you know, give it a thumbs up, please comment down below, and please subscribe. And also follow my socials. I am going to try and become more active on my Instagram, that is for my YouTube and vlog, because I have two separate ones. And I'm also going to try and become more active on my Twitter and also on my blog. So keep an eye on my blog. It should be linked in the description as well. And without further ado, let's roll on into the video. Okay, so for this video, if you can't see my title, I am choosing to talk about my top 10 musical soundtracks. So we all know I love musicals. I've spoken about this before. I did a musical theatre tag. If I remember, I'll leave it in the card above or description below. I'm obsessed with musicals. It's like literally unreal. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. I think I'm getting a cold. I don't know. But you know, I'm obsessed with musicals and I'm obsessed with musical theatre. I want to work in a theatre when I graduate. Like, I want to be a manager of the theatre, so we'll see what happens. So I thought I'd do my top 10 musical soundtracks. I mean, like the albums, not just like songs from them. So I've got my 10. Some of them are going to be ones you already know I like, and some of them are going to be different. I might play some or sing some. Probably won't, because I don't want to get copyrighted if I play some, so actually let's not. So we're going to start with number 1. My first one is something I recently had. So about a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I went to see a show, well not a show, I went home, it was voluntary work at my theatre, and they did a show of a thing called Urinetown, and I had never heard of this musical before I knew they were doing it. Bearing in mind, I go to see this amateur musical theatre group every year, or I volunteer for it every year, because I know how good they are. They are very good. Last year they did Phantom of the Opera, and oh my god, it was amazing. Like, hands down, it was such an amazing show that I know they can't fault anything they do. So when I heard there was this thing called Urinetown, I was like, what is this? Still want to see it. So I watched them do it and I fell in love. The music from it is so good. I've listened to the soundtrack every day on repeat. Like, I'm obsessed with it. It is so good. It's such a good songs. I have a few of my favourites there. There's a song called The Cop Song and a song called Follow Your Heart and the Act 1 finale are my 3 favourite songs. I just love it. I think the story is quite significant and it is a very realistic issue that it is covering, but they make it a comedic way to look at, which I think is very much more of an interest and more of a fun way to learn about these things, but also realise how important it is, so you can make a twist on it. So Urinetown, I'm going to briefly explain. Urinetown is about the fact that this is quite way in the past, but it's similar. It's about water shortage, and so there's this team of basically making people pay to use the toilet. Disgusting, I know. If you can't pay, you can't use the toilet, and you can't go in the streets, you can't do anything. So you're stuck. But it is about water shortage, which is a significant thing in some ways, because in life these days there is water shortages everywhere. Sometimes we've got global warming is a thing, climate change is a thing, and there's going to be probably water shortage at some point, let's be real. So I think the story is such a significant story to tell, but it's a good twist on it because there's a lot more fun and the music's very fun and upbeat, and I'm just obsessed. Next one is one I've been obsessed with since I was about 16. I've been obsessed with the film since I was about 12. It's Legally Blonde. So the film, I love the film with Reese Witherspoon in and Matthew Davis, who is actually Alaric Saltzman in The Vampire Diaries. I'm obsessed with it. Like, it's such a good film. I find it so funny to watch, so much fun. It's one of those classic films I could just put on and be so happy. I just love it. Elle Woods is my girl. I love her. And they made it into a musical, and I'm obsessed with the soundtrack. It is so good. It really tells the story. I have an obsession with like all of the songs. What You Want is one of my favourites. I can sing that all day long. Serious is another really good one as well. The Legally Blonde song near the end is a really deep song. And Chip on Your Shoulder, which is between Elle and Emmett, which I really love as well. So I just think it's a really good musical. It tells a story all the way through of Elwood's life, and like, I'm sure I've not seen a musical and I really want to, but I'm sure there's words people speak. It's not just sing all the way through. Like some of the ones, which is one of the ones I didn't add on this list, but Rent is basically in the musical on the Broadway, the one they did, which is on DVD. She just had them singing it. They had no speaking in it, unlike the film. But this one, it probably has words and like normal scripted lines, but if you took them out, you could still understand the story through the songs, or in my eyes, you could. So I really like it. The next one is The Heathers. This is something me and my housemate have in common. We both love the Heathers soundtrack and the story. I've seen the online version of Heathers. I think it was a school production, but it was really good, and I'm obsessed with it. It is. I love the music. I love the songs. I sing along to it all the time. I couldn't like tell you. I love all the songs. I have no. Each song I love. I can't even say I hate one. I can listen to the soundtrack all day, any day, every day. I like both the soundtracks. So there's the London one, which is Carrie Hope Fletcher and Jamie Moscato and Sophie Isaacs and others, in which came out in March, and it's so good. They have at least 3 new songs that is not on the original soundtrack, which has, so it's got a song called You're Welcome, which replaced Blue, Never Shut Up Again, which is Heather Duke's song, which I think I'm really glad she actually got a full song to herself, and the song I Say No, which is by far one of my favourite songs. Like, I love it. I literally love Veronica just belting that out to JD. It's just amazing, and I really wish I got the chance to see Heathers with Carrie Hope Fletcher in at some point, but I never got the chance to. Never had the money to go, and when I did have the money, it was closed. So what can you do? If it goes on tour, I've heard someone said they might be going on tour, and if it does, I am actually gonna, like, even if I have to spend all my money again, I'm going to it. But I just love it. There's also another version, which is the American version, which was a few years ago, which is what I fell in love with, is Barrett Robert Weed and what's his name? Ryan McCartan and a few others. Barrett Robert Weed is actually in the Mean Girls, or was in the Mean Girls Broadway. I'm not sure anymore. I don't know if he's left or what, but I'm obsessed with that one, and it's such a good soundtrack as well, and Barrett Robert Weed's voice is just amazing. I literally love her, so definitely love Heather's soundtrack by far. So I'm drinking an energy drink as well because I'm very tired, and I haven't got much milk, so I'm trying to save myself from drinking coffee, but I probably will when I finish that, even though it's probably not good for me. That's off topic. The next one, number 4, is Les Miserables. I think that's how you say it. The soundtrack, I prefer the musical soundtrack to the one on stage, the West End one. Don't know why, just prefer it. I think it's because the actors in it. Like, I love Amanda Seyfried's voice. Okay, no. I love Amanda Seyfried's voice. I love Samantha Barks. I love Eddie Redmayne, Hugh Jackman, Anne Hathaway, Russell Crowe, Aaron Tveit. All of those people's voices, and it's just amazing, and I love the soundtrack, and I fell in love. I didn't listen to the soundtrack until I watched the movie, but obviously the movie is basically song after song after song after song. It's not really anything else. Like, there is some speaking in it, but it's mainly song after song, if I remember rightly. I haven't watched it in a while, but I'm obsessed with the soundtrack, and I just love it. Just the story in the soundtrack is so good, and it's just so deep. Like, I'm obsessed with On My Own. If you haven't seen my previous video when I spoke about Glee, I mentioned how much I love Rachel Berry, and Rachel Berry sang On My Own as her audition song to Glee, and to the Glee Club, and ever since then I've loved that song. And when I heard it in On My Own by Samantha Barks, I was just like on my seat, like off on the edge of my seat, like listening to it. I fell in love with it. A Heart Full of Love, again, I love. Amanda Seyfried's voice just literally nails that song, so I just absolutely love it. and I can't fault a Lamer's soundtrack. I just can't. It's just so good. Everyone on it is so good, and I'm not saying the Western version isn't good. The Western version is great, but it's just I prefer the movie one. But it's still, I put it in my top 10 musical soundtrack because it is a musical after all. My next one is Hamilton. Never seen it. I know it came to the UK and I really want to see it, but tickets are so expensive. I'm a student, cannot afford to go. I really want to, but I can't afford to right now, unfortunately, and it sucks. But either way, I've listened to the soundtrack so many times. I'm just obsessed with it. I love the voices. I love the songs. I love how like more, it's like this music is more culture to this like kind of the world we were living in now. Like it's more rap and it's more like edgy and more current. That's the word I was looking for. It's like a current musical, and I really like it because I'm not a massive fan of rap songs as it is, but that is just, it just does something to me and I just love it. And I love the story. I think it's very interesting and I would love to get to watch it, but the soundtrack is just by far amazing, and I think everyone involved in it put their all into it, and I just loved it, and I just want to listen to it now all over again. If I can name a few songs that are my favourites. So my like Burn is one of my favourites by 100%. Burn. Alexander Hamilton, the first one, I think it's the first song. It's the first song on the album. So Non-Stop, I Know Him, Stay Alive. It's Quiet Uptown or something. I can't remember what it's called. That's really bad, but it's something. I absolutely love it, and I just think it's such a magical piece, and people should definitely, if they haven't listened to the soundtrack, they should, because for me, a lot of the musicals that are in America that are not in the UK, and what makes me want to see it is the soundtracks. And unfortunately, until they watch the UK, I can't go watch it. This leads me on to the next one, which is Dear Evan Hansen. I am dying to see this when it comes to the UK. I'm pretty sure it's coming very soon. I want to see how much tickets are. I might actually Google it after filming, because you know what? If I can afford to buy it for myself, I'll buy myself one ticket and go on my own, if I have to. No, but the soundtrack is amazing. I absolutely love it. Ben Platt's voice in this. Laura I can't say her last name, but she was in Glee in the last season. She played Madison, and her voice is amazing as well. And it's just such a good show. It's such, well, I don't know the show, I've not seen it. Like I said, I haven't been to New York, so, but it's a good soundtrack. It's such a good soundtrack. I just absolutely love it. I love everything about it. They've got, my favourite songs will be Waving Through a Window, You Will Be Found, Sincerely Me, Only Us, Requiem. They're my 5 favourite songs from that soundtrack, but I love them all. And it is such a good soundtrack to like literally listen to, and I just preach it. Like I sing along to it all the time. It is by far my favourite, and hands down, can't wait for it to be in the UK. My next one is something I've actually seen too many times. When I say too many times, I've seen it 3 times and I want to see it again, like big time. It is Wicked. Wicked is such a good show anyway. Like, I love the story. It's the story of like Glinda and the Wicked Witch, I guess, before Wizard of Oz. And I absolutely love the show. I love the story. I love it. And, you know, it's just amazing. And it's such a fun soundtrack. Oh my god, my hair is falling out. And I just love the story. And the soundtrack is just by far amazing. I can literally always like excited. I remember when I took my mum to see the musical, and she's never heard the soundtrack unless she overheard it when I put it in my room, because I play it a lot out loud. But I took my mum for Christmas the year before I came to uni. It was like my treat to her, because I was working like 2 jobs back then, and so I was earning a lot more money than I obviously am now. Well, I know I obviously was. I'm kind of earning a bit more now, which is good. But anyway, back to the point. So I took my mum to see it, and seeing her, she was so happy with it. She loved the songs, and like my mum hadn't been as well. I had never gone to a West End show with my mum in my life. My first West End show my nan took me to when I was 10. I hadn't been to a West End show with my mum, so it was really nice to actually be able and to afford to take my mum somewhere, because it was just nice. But anyway, The show was amazing. I went to see it with my school when I was 16. It was like a leaving thing. My form and another form did, because we had, there was these, our form and the other form were like always close from day one. From year 7 we just kind of we always mixed, like we were put in like DT and catering slash textiles. We were always like mixed with this other form, so we kind of bonded from day one, so that our forms both decided to do a trip to the theatre to see Wicked. And I was so grateful because at the time I couldn't afford it, my parents couldn't afford it, so my form tutor paid for it and then we paid him back. But he was so sweet and it was the best thing I did. Then I went with my mum, and then 2 months after I went with my mum, I went with my best friend, and it was just so much fun. Love the show, love the soundtrack. My favourite songs will be For Good, which is between Glinda and Elphaba. At the end of near the end of the show, I remember hearing it on Glee before I'd even seen the show. I didn't even know it was from Wicked at that point because I hadn't seen the show when it was in Glee, and I hadn't listened to the soundtrack until just before I went to see it when I was 16. Oh no, it was after I went to see it, so I didn't know until I went to see it. And then Defying Gravity, which was amazing, Popular, and I'm Not That Girl. I think I really relate to I'm Not That Girl because I'm always a person who falls for a guy who falls for someone else. That's what happens to me. But I just love the story, and I feel like it's so crazy, but the story kind of says that you can kind of relate to it if you're a person that, in a situation of a guy thing, Elphaba's looked past because she's green and everyone else is normal, and everyone thinks, oh my god, she's horrible, she's ugly, stay away from her because she has these powers and stuff. And I'm actually like, no, I just love it. My next one is something that has recently come to the UK and I'm dying to go see. I am planning to try and get tickets. Is Waitress. I love the soundtrack. It just melts me every time I hear it. I haven't listened to the whole thing. I can't deny that I haven't listened to the whole of it, but I've listened to most of it. And the most part I've heard is amazing. I'm obsessed. I have like 3 favourite songs, and it is Never Getting Rid of Me, Bad Idea, and She Used to Be Mine. Those 3 are my 3 favourites. I love them to pieces, and I cannot tell you how much those songs are like the bomb. They are the best songs I've heard in a long time, and I love them, and the story just seems amazing, and I honestly hope I can get the chance to go watch it because right now it's gutting. I watch like everything when it comes on West End Live and they perform live. I watch it just because I'm like, you know what, I need to hear it. My next one is another one I really want to see, and I really hope is still going to be going when I get the chance to, is Six. It is like a pop group get together, and they're like the Henry VIII's ex-wife, and they come together as a pop group, and it's so good. It is like, I've listened to the soundtrack and there's not many songs in it, which is kind of like the reason I got through it so quickly, but I'm obsessed. I love it. I love the sound of it. I was always a person who's always liked the Henry VIII the musical, like not musical, Henry VIII like story, from when I was at school, like primary school, learning the story of Henry VIII. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I actually was like, became obsessed with Henry VIII and that story. So having like a musical about it was amazing. My favourite songs is Get Down, Don't Lose Your Head, and All You Want to Do. Those 3 songs are my favourite. I'm just obsessed with it. And finally, the last one I actually struggled with. Like, I'm actually going to go back to my original one I wrote down, because as much as I love the one I actually changed to, this was something again, by this amateur theatre group, but this was by the adult version of the amateur theatre group I see at my theatre. They did a show called The Dirty Rotten Scoundrels back in like a couple of years ago, maybe. I think it was not this year, not last year, but the year before. They did Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and I fell in love with it. It was just such an interesting story, and the songs are just really like catchy, and I love the finale song and a song called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. There's a song called Great Big Stuff that I love, and Give Them What They Want is what I love. But I love all of it, but they're the ones I love the most, and it's just so good. So yeah, 2 other ones that I could have added on here was The Last 5 Years and Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera, again, is something I really do love, and it was really hard not to put it on here because I do love Phantom of the Opera. It's one of my favourite musicals and my favourite soundtrack, but there's times when I get bored of it. That's why I didn't put it on here. So But anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. This was actually, I really enjoyed talking about it. If you didn't know, I love musicals so much. If you did enjoy it, please like the video, maybe comment down below. Maybe comment down below if you like musicals, your favourite musical soundtracks. And if there's something I haven't mentioned, maybe I haven't listened to, I would love to listen to it. And please subscribe and join the little family we have going on. And I will see you again soon with another video.